So 2 weeks ago I put up a video showing how we built this recording studio from start to finish. That video did really well, pretty amazing. Thanks everyone for watching it. I think we're pretty much at 100,000 views now. This week I thought I would show you how we built the rest of this place, mainly focusing on the restaurant barn, which is definitely something that's evolved in our minds as we've been building this place. I don't think we ever really intended on it being a restaurant. I think we always thought of it more like a sort of pop-up food type space. We cook pizzas on Friday evenings for the locals, and when we have a concert in the studio or outside, we can do the food in there. But anyway, sit back and enjoy watching us turn this old cow barn into this kind of restaurant. Alright, so this is where we started. This was on my very first trip to look at the place. It was the old cow bedroom, basically. It's where the cows used to live. Had these really beautiful green colour cow pens everywhere. Here's some drone footage I shot. This is me and Vincent dismantling all the cow beds, saving that timber because I did end up using that for other things at some point. We moved all those tiles outside. There's Vincent looking very happy. And then above that room was this space which we didn't have any way of getting into, so I cut a door through the wall upstairs so we could get in there and check it out. Right, yeah, that's the empty kitchen. So then me and Eddie spent ages trying to save all of these amazing old floor bricks. We did hit upon our method in the end, and we did actually clean all of those bricks with a chisel and a hammer, just cleaning off all the old mortar. And those bricks have featured in several projects since then. It's actually kind of painful to look back at this because we really didn't know what we were doing. This is me trying to break up the floor with a sledgehammer, and then us collapsing. In the end, we buckled, and I rented this amazing little mini digger thing because, as you can see, the floor was completely full of stones, like thousands and thousands of stones. I have no idea how they got there in the first place. Yeah, there's a nice time lapse of me and Eddie emptying it out. There it is, all empty. And there is the pile of stones that Eddie took out by wheelbarrow power. Okay, so then we focused on the upstairs and we clad all of the old roof with new larch boards from the sawmill. Looking very beautiful. And there was a chimney at the far end which we demolished. Then we filled up the tractor scoop with all the bricks so we could get those out, and then started taking down that end wall, taking all the cladding off. Quite a beautiful view. Right, then we took off all the roof tiles and we developed this, I think, fairly safe method. Elsa, or whoever it would be at the bottom wearing a hard hat. We made a big kind of crash mat thing. That's Arturi and me taking off all the old stuff off of the roof, basically. All the old battens and this masonite board which was there, stripping it right back down to the original battens. This would originally have had wooden shingles on it. So there you can see the outside of those new larch boards that we put up. So we had a solid surface to work on. That's the new rafter, or those are the new rafters that we added to build the roof out so that we could insulate even more. That's a vapor barrier which we taped onto the inside. Oh yeah, okay, that was the beginning of the willow bed system. There's another whole video about the willow bed system, which I'll put up there somewhere. Right, so now we're insulating 3 layers of 10 centimetre wood fibre insulation slabs. So we ended up with 30 centimetres. This is the other side now, starting that. We tried a different technique with the vapour barrier, a bit easier doing it like this, just roll it out over the whole roof, 3 strips, and then put the new rafters on top, just like that. Kind of achieves the same end result, but much quicker. Alright, so this is the membrane going on, the roofing membrane, with the counter battens going up, and us trying to figure out the correct tile batten height. So yeah, that's the end going on, the end wall being clad in larch, again from the sawmill. And this was me putting in the roof windows in that barn, and you can see the 3 layers of insulation there. So yeah, Velux windows, I think I put in 7 in that barn. Wasn't too bad once I got the hang of it. They're quite easy to work with. Alright, that's all the battens done. The windows are in, looking good, watertight, and then we basically just put the tiles back on, which was, yeah, I'm sure you can imagine that's a lot of work, and especially because you have to kind of trim them slightly. Doesn't matter how many times we measured, each roof we did, we always had to trim the tiles a little bit. I think it's just the way it goes. That's Tommy and me cutting the tiles in around the window, trying to figure it out. Alright, side 1 complete, side 2 halfway complete. The ridge tiles on, there's Arturi and Tommy. We had a good method by the end of it. It doesn't take that long. Okay, now we're inside. That end wall has been insulated. I think we built another wall in front of it to add even more insulation. That's the whole space, looking amazing. Alright, then we turned our attention to this bit, which we wanted to build a roof terrace and lift the ceiling height inside because it was very low. This is going to be, or will become, the toilet area and the water filter room. So the toilet for the restaurant and the water filter room. There's Arturi and Tommy. We're putting down the boards on the roof, taking that end cladding off there and putting on the wind paper. There's Isaac and Tommy. Alright, so this is where the toilet is going to go eventually, or has gone. It's built, it is there now. Roofing felt, more cladding, wind paper. Right, so this is for the deck. So we got larch from the sawmill, cut these angled pieces. There's Vincent screwing down the decking, starting to come together. Alright, so then by this point we realised that we hadn't actually dug out enough in the kitchen, and so we did this last little bit, these kind of edges. That's me cutting out one of the, I guess they were used for chaining up the cows or whatever, these big metal posts. That's the water room, as we call it, where the filters and the toilet are. You can see where we're starting to lay new pipes. Yeah, so this is the middle barn downstairs, which is now the workshop. It was the old dairy, and it had all these posts supporting the floor above, which were kind of in the wrong place. So we took down these beams very carefully, propping up the whole building basically. Broke up the floor around everything. It was really a pain in the arse, this, because we had to kind of work in stages, keeping everything propped up and then moving the props. Pretty brutal. Again, in the end, we went for the little mini digger, which saved our asses. Because we knew we had to pour concrete slabs everywhere, but we also needed water, you know, to stay alive, we had to basically wall mount the water filters, get them off the ground, reconnect them in situ, hopefully it being strong enough. What was that? That was a 150 litre tank plus the filter, probably 200 kilos or so hanging off the wall. So that was a little bit stressful, but it did hold, and it allowed us to pour the slabs later with the water filters being off the ground. Okay, so that is what ended up becoming the studio. So we are now pre-studio, digging out everywhere where we wanted underfloor heating. In the studio we don't have underfloor heating, we have air-to-air heat pumps on the walls so that we can cool it down in the summer if we need to. But yeah, this is, we dug all the way round to the studio basically. In the end, I think we did around 200 tons of concrete with wheelbarrows and the mini digger. Pretty intense. All right, so then we relocated all of these beams and posts in the workshop. We poured new plinths for the new posts to sit on so that everything was in a much better position and all nice and strong. Right, so this is perlite. Some of you might know what this is. This is a very natural insulation material, hard to walk on, hence us making these mad kind of snazzy snowshoes to walk around on the stuff. Yeah, it's some sort of rock which gets popped like popcorn and then coated in silicon, so it doesn't transmit any moisture. So you can see here we're getting ready. All the pipes are under the perlite, all the conduits for power and for water. So yeah, I mean, look, it's pretty nuts. Here's Ferdy getting ready with the mesh. So yeah, you lay landscape fabric on top and then mesh, and you compact it down, and then the underfloor heating basically you zip tie it onto that mesh. I mean, look at this, so crazy. Right, so that's the underfloor heating for the restaurant done. That's the workshop. That's the lab and the storeroom. Workshop, underfloor heating going in. Yeah, then you raise the whole mesh thing up on these little kind of towers so that it sits halfway through the slab when it's poured. There's the underfloor heating manifold. Right, all done. Ready for the concrete. Right, this morning, this was minus 14.5 degrees. The concrete kept freezing in the pipes. Eventually they got it flowing, but we basically couldn't stop, otherwise it would freeze. So it was just this mad, like, mission, just keep the concrete flowing, keep pouring, don't stop. I can't believe we did this. Look how steamy it started getting. It was like a Russian bath in there. It was crazy. But yeah, that's me having a go. It's so nuts. But yeah, they did great, those guys. Pretty unbelievable. Alright, then it's all polished up with the polishing machine. Smoothed out. That's me and Ferdy doing the edges. That's the water room. That's the water filters hanging off the wall there. Alright, all done. So yeah, you need to keep on wetting the concrete as it cures so that it doesn't crack. I mean, it did crack in the end anyway. But yeah, you need to keep it wet. Ah, we did have our Christmas lunch in there. We made it. Alright, so this is Ferdy and me a bit making the railings for the roof terrace. And then the windows. So all the windows in the barns were kind of, a lot of the glass was broken. So me and Tommy spent, I think, a couple of weeks. We took all the glass out, chipped out all the old putty, and then replaced the glass. and yeah, Tommy did a beautiful job. It was a lot of work, but yeah, you can see it's starting to come together now. We've patched up the walls and stuff. There's the window, looking really good. Yeah, so starting to come together. That's another bit of the drains. There's another whole video, like I said. Watch the video about the willow beds. That was intense, yeah. Right, so that's upstairs, above the workshop. Started putting down the wooden floor. Here's Elsa painting out the workshop with homemade chalk paint, which is kind of cool. It's very cheap, but it's not very tough. It flakes off a bit. Right, yeah. More of that German, actually it's from Poland, I think. It used to be like the cheapest way to get a solid wooden floor, a solid oak floor. In Germany they call it industry parquet, and I think I paid €11 a square meter for it, which is pretty unbelievable. I think you can still get it pretty cheap. If you ever want a solid oak floor like that, then check out industry parquet. You can still find it pretty cheap, and it's quite easy to work with, and it is basically indestructible, and it looks very beautiful. Yeah, looking good. Yeah, sanded and polished, beautiful. And then I started moving in a load of crap again. So the kitchen floor, we used this Osmo beton oil, concrete oil, just rolled it on there. Yeah, it's really beautiful stuff. I think it looks cool, kind of industrial. Then we had to take out these beams, the big metal beams that were left. So I had these bracket things welded. I did check with the structural engineer. Yeah, these bracket things screwed on to the rafters, and then these giant threaded rods went on in between, just to kind of take up the tension of the roof. Yeah, pretty satisfying actually. That's above the workshop, yet another massive wooden floor that I put down. Yeah, there's the floor sander. Alright, so the rafter ties were in, and so we could take down all of these old metal beams, which I ended up trading for plywood at the salvage yard, which was pretty cool. Yeah, those are great, those lifting machines, they're brilliant. Right, all gone, opened right up. Right, so then I boxed in around the edge, running lighting conduit and everything, and power for the kitchen. Hid it all inside those boxes going around the edge. Ferdy started building the bedroom upstairs. So upstairs above the kitchen, this is like a little kind of annex, like a little apartment for bands to stay in if the guest house is booked. A little bathroom up there. And finally we blocked in the door to the water room and put in a window. The new water filters are in there, installed in their rightful place. New door in. The kitchen kind of became a metal workshop for a while when we were making these gobos for the recording studio. Yeah, so I put in this side door, which is the entrance to the kitchen. And then I started building the toilet, which we found out annoyingly too late was a bit too small for a wheelchair, so we actually had to take it down and rebuild it. Okay, this is me and David putting in the floor drain for the kitchen, because you need a floor drain, obviously. And then I had to contour the floor level so it would actually drain into that floor drain. So then we got very lucky and we managed to buy an entire kitchen from a restaurant which was closing down. Very cheap, really. So yeah, we got the whole kitchen. Alright, that's the water room, ceiling done, looking good. Steps going into the restaurant. This is like the main entrance to the restaurant. So yeah, this little deck and steps thing, built that. Elsa painting the windows and the wall. This thing is called the pass in a restaurant, where you pass the food out into the restaurant. Nice big piece of oak, sanded that down. Looking good. And then I started building the bar. So I built this curved thing, and then at the back I made a mould for a concrete countertop. Kind of a mess everywhere, but yeah. So concrete countertop mould, space for a sink, a hole for the coffee machine pipes to go through, mixing up the concrete, pouring it in. I mean, it's such a good way of getting a countertop, because you know this whole thing probably cost €100 or so, and once it's polished up, so you can kind of grind it with these diamond discs, and it exposes all of the aggregate, and I think it looks really beautiful. It's very smooth. Finished building all the rest of the shelves for the bar, for glasses and stuff, with some bits of oak I had lying around. So then I went to my friend Isaac, his workshop Carver down the road. I prepared loads of bits of maple, cherry, ash and oak, and we made the mother of all butcher block bar tops. Pretty insane. A lot of work. I think it took us 4 days or so. But yeah, this is what he does. If you want a really beautiful bespoke butcher block chopping board, then get in touch with Isaac at Carver. So yeah, here we are trying to figure out how are we going to cut the curve. So yeah, traced it out on a piece of plasterboard, and then figured out these little sections that we could cut, which would give us enough of a curve. Kind of worked out actually. Pretty good. There's Isaac sanding it, branding his logo onto the end, and then a bit of oil. Beautiful. So then I tiled the front of it. Very nice. You may see in the background there, I actually did tile the whole kitchen at that point as well. So this is upstairs. We've jumped way ahead. Bathroom's done, and the little apartment thing, you can just peep through there. That's done as well. Kitchen really coming together. So now it was the ventilation, which was such a massive pain in the arse, but we needed to do it. So yeah, you can see all the tiles there, done. Yeah, still sort of semi set up. So the ventilation system, it was quite tricky to cram it all in there. These huge ventilation pipes. Yeah, kind of beautiful. I really love that stuff. Especially these things. Right, as if by magic, it's done. Yeah, so that's fresh air coming in with a little heater for the winter, and extraction from the kitchen. Those things. So that sucks out all the steam from the dishwasher and the any fumes from the cooker. Here's the toilet taking shape. Elsa's beautiful tiling work. Nice big mirror. And then I made some tables for the restaurant out of some wood I bought off of my mate. Welded the legs up, screwed them on, tables, including a big round table. Legs on that. Yeah. Right, this is the bar shelves, the back bar, which I made out of some of that plywood which I swapped the metal beams for, which is cool. There it is. We painted the wall gold behind. taking shape. Still a bit messy, but taking shape. There's the bar shelves, including beautiful LEDs and mirrors. And that's basically the finished restaurant. It's such a cool space now. It's well, watching this video, watching through all of these old videos, again, slightly traumatic. It's been a lot of work, but like I said earlier, we do make pizzas every Friday. I make the pizzas, Vincent helps me, and Elsa is behind the bar. We'll see how long we can do that for, until we need to find somebody else. But it's going really well, and it is really cool to see so many people in there having a good time in this place, which once upon a time was just a sort of forgotten cow barn. After we finished that barn, we then did the middle barn. Same thing, took all the tiles off, all the old battens and everything, stripped it right back. The middle barn, we wanted to keep the interior looking the same as it originally did, which is all the old wooden roof shingles. So we insulated differently. We did a warm roof insulation where you basically just blanket the whole thing from the outside with insulation sheets. Cut some roof windows again. There's Tommy's head. Yeah, that's the inside. You can see the original roofing shingles there. Tiles back on, solar panel rails, roof windows looking good, more tiles. Yeah. Pretty nuts. Ridge tiles going on. So that's it, really. That is that is kind of the full recap in a way. There are loads more details and everything on the earlier videos. The gatehouse is another whole project. That was the first thing that we did. I did make a video all about that, which I'll put a link to here as well. That is pretty much the whole process. Like I said, it's very weird to look through all of this footage. It's been an incredibly long project and an incredible amount of work, but yeah, having watched it all, I realise just how many people we've had helping here. So all of you who have helped do this, thank you so much. Also, all of you who have subscribed since the last couple of videos, it's really been incredible. Like I said, the previous video is on about 100,000 views now, loads more subscribers, many very generous donations to our PA fund, which is almost there. We're almost there. Link down below. I will see you again next week for another video. I'm quite discombobulated. All right, lots of love everybody. Look after each other, and yeah, goodbye.